Hello PW Torch YouTube, my name is Stephanie Chase and I'm here with the All Elite Wrap Up, bringing you all the latest news from AEW. Now, it is Revolution Week and I am here in San Francisco ahead of tomorrow night's Dynamite and Sunday's pay-per-view. I have no scoops to report at the minute, but if I see FTR and Starbucks, I'll let you know. That's usually what happens to me on these trips. But it was nice to see a Revolution poster on the drive-in from the airport yesterday. So yeah, I am filming on location in San Francisco, so that's why things look a little bit different this time. But even though I'm away, I've still got the news for you, so let's get on with it. First up, it's Kenny Omega. He has spoken as much as he can about Brawl Out while he appeared on Renee Paquette's The Sessions. So speaking about the infamous altercation that took place after the All Out press conference, Kenny said, "I don't think anyone is happy that it happened or is proud that it happened or anything like that. I think across the board, everyone thinks it was a terrible situation that was unnecessary. It's so surreal because it's almost like it never happened. It happened, of course it happened. We might never get to speak about it, but what's important is that no one was seriously injured emerging from that and that we've moved on from life. I'm completely fine. It doesn't dictate what I do or what I say. I'm sure the Bucks are in the same boat. I can't speak to the other parties. Hopefully they are doing well, and I mean that." So yeah, I think that's one of the more lengthy statements we've ever gotten on what happened with Brawl Out. It is clear that there are legal issues that are limiting people's ability to speak on the matter, but that was certainly a very interesting quote from Kenny, especially saying that he hopes everyone involved is doing well, and I'm guessing by other parties he means that party of one CM Punk. Now, more Kenny Omega news. There has been so many rumors and reports that WWE are interested in Kenny Omega. So according to the Wrestling Observer, Kenny Omega's contract was meant to expire in January, but he has had injury time added to the length of it. The Observer reports that Tony Khan activated that part of his contract that allows him to tack on time if the performer missed any. Omega was sidelined for 9 months. So yeah, whether or not WWE is interested in Kenny Omega, whether or not Kenny Omega wants to go to WWE, it's not going to happen anytime soon because he's working off that injury time that Tony Khan has added. That's something that we've seen WWE do in the past. They once used that with Rey Mysterio. So it looks like Tony Khan seems to be following the same policies there with his wrestlers when they come to the end of their deals who have been off for an extended period of time. Moving on to some ratings talk, it was very good for Dynamite and Wednesday, averaging 1.28 million viewers, which was a big turnaround from last week where it had 824,000 viewers. Now, they weren't up against NBA competition on Wednesday, and they weren't up against MTV's The Challenge also, which are two big rivals for viewers for them. In that all-important 18 to 49 demo, we saw Dynamite rebound to a 0.35 rating from a 0.27 last week. And Rampage. Now, Rampage's ratings last Friday were terrible, and they were on a different time slot. They did bounce back this week, averaging 409,000 viewers. So last week they only had 287,000 viewers, which was a terrible number, but they were in an earlier time slot. Now, I would recommend, if you really want to hear about the ratings, especially for Dynamite, if you want to hear them broken down by the quarter hours, make sure you are a PW Torch VIP member, because Wade Keller has a really great episode of Focus on AEW up there right now where he breaks down the quarters of those Wednesday night ratings. It's really interesting to listen to, so of course go VIP. Jon Moxley's opponent has been announced for Bloodsport. It will be Davey Richards. Bloodsport is taking place during WrestleMania weekend in LA. The news was revealed by Josh Barnett, who said, "It's been 13 years since these two clashed one-on-one in the ring. That last meeting was a time limit draw. A wrestler can change a lot in 13 years, but one thing that hasn't changed is for these two athletes is they are out for blood." So Bloodsport 9, that takes place on March 30th as part of GCW's The Collective event during WrestleMania weekend. This show is also going to have on it AEW's Marina Shafir taking on Killer Kelly. And maybe most interesting, Kota Ibushi will face Mike Bailey. Now, Britt Baker has been talking to Fox Sports about how things have changed for her recently, where she's become really a less prominent character on AEW television. She's talked about her current relationship with Tony Khan. She said, right now I'm not having weekly matches, I'm not having weekly promos, so it's a little bit backed off. I try not to bother him, Tony, and bug him because there are hundreds of other wrestlers texting him on a daily basis, I'm sure. But when I was champion, I was texting with Tony several times a week with different ideas. He was sending me his ideas. He's very straight up with me. He'd tell me straight up, Britt, that is not a good idea. I don't like that. Or, hey, let's make that better. And I really appreciate that with my boss. I couldn't ask for a better boss than Tony Khan, and he's helped me so much growing as a performer, as a wrestler, and as a human being. He's a really special guy, and we're lucky to work for him. So, of course, Britt Baker is currently part of the women's division main storyline. She is aligned with the champion, Jamie Hayter, and Jamie Hayter will be defending the title against Saraya and Ruby Soho at Revolution. So it looks like Britt, for the first time in a long time, is left off the pay-per-view card this time around. But I'm sure she will be there at ringside cheering on Jamie Hayter, and who knows where this story will go next, because of course there was a point in time where it really seemed like they were building towards a Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker feud before Saraya came along. Now you can tell we're on pay-per-view season because there's more AEW interviews going on, more quotes. We had Chris Jericho talking to the Daily Star, who asked him, would he end his career in WWE? And this is what he had to say. I don't hold a torch for WWE. To me, that's not the place to be. AEW is the place to be. It really is. I've been in WWE. I know how it works. They work that way. I don't care if Vince is there, Hunter is there, or whoever. They have a way of doing things. And when I was there for 20 years and was pretty good at it, I like the way we do things at AEW better, so I don't know why I wouldn't want to finish my career in AEW. I never thought that I wouldn't finish my career with WWE, but things happened, and I was just like, I want to go to Japan and do this match, and it opened up a whole new world for me. It was like, oh my gosh, this is the fun side of wrestling again. He added that he does love Vince, and he loves Hunter, all the people there, but I just really dig AEW, and I have a stake in the game. And of course, Jericho did sign a 3-year contract extension with AEW just recently, back in October. Now, moving on to Mark Henry, who had some very interesting comments on Busted Open Radio about CM Punk and his future in wrestling. Mark Henry said, Punk has posted things. If you didn't love it and you didn't really want to do it, you wouldn't post. You wouldn't have interactions on social media at all. You just let it go. He has not been released from his contract. That being said, one of the things I've seen is FTR has supported Punk the whole time, which I find to be refreshing in pro wrestling. We need to support each other even if there's a problem. How cool would it be to see FTR go to Punk and say, we'll stand beside you against the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, win, lose or draw, we support you. The loser has to be the one to apologize. Somebody is going to have to apologize, and even if they don't want to, it also brings a little bit of togetherness. You have to use it now. You can't have Punk come back and not address the issue, not say anything. Like, we're just going to move on and put Punk with Powerhouse Hobbs. You can't do that. You have to bring him back and make it mean something. Now, when Mark Henry's co-host Dave LaGretta noted that Punk was attending New Japan Battle in the Valley, Henry went on to talk about how much Punk still loves wrestling. Then when LaGretta mentioned that Punk has been called a cancer in the locker room by people, Henry fired back and said, he's not, I'm going to say it. Now, on this, a fan commented on Instagram to keep CM Punk retired that was under a post about this, and CM Punk himself replied, you liked your own comment. Bold, I'll wrestle again just to upset you. You'll watch no matter where. We also had former AEW wrestler Joey Janela appearing on Keeping It 100 with Conan and Disco Inferno. And he basically said that AEW has too much talent for them to properly utilize it. He said that some people are just happy to be there and be part of something. His thought was always that Tony's trying every week to do like a little mini pay-per-view, and that he kind of preferred how they did things back in the day with Nitro, where you'd have like a lot of short matches and stuff to get guys over on TV. And then he talked about really like people going to dark and stuff like that, wrestling just twice a month in Universal Studios. And he said that wrestlers are regressing in ability because they don't care. They're getting paid and they don't want to go hustle. He said, a lot of guys don't want to go back to the indies. You have that choice in AEW to go wrestle in the indies. All those guys are getting paid 6 figures. Bottom card to the top of the card. Top of the card, 7 figures. The whole company is getting paid 6 figures unless the pay scale has changed. Of course, there were some kind of tiered deal where you get paid by appearance when they're just kind of feeling someone or testing them. Some people, they don't want to go back on the indies. You can make more on the indies. So Janela, who left AEW when his contract expired in May 2022, went on to say, I saw it myself during COVID because there weren't indies running. I would get in the ring, wrestle a couple of times a month in these 4-minute matches, and I saw my talent regress. I needed that oil. That's why I was botching left and right. That whole 2020 year wasn't good for me because these guys have to wrestle. It's not like WWE. If you're not on TV, you don't have to come. You can sit home, and I'll not finish the end of that sentence. But basically, Joey there really giving his thoughts on how AEW is structured, and maybe just the fact that because they are paying wrestlers so well that guys aren't motivated enough to take advantage of the fact that you can take indie dates, a lot of the wrestlers in AEW. Now we have an AEW departure. Fightful Select reports that Vicky Guerrero is expected to leave AEW this summer. According to Fightful, Guerrero and the company have mutually decided not to renew her contract when it expires this July. Looking at her social media, she seems pretty happy about this. She's been teasing like a new journey. She tweeted, beautiful sunrise this morning. I'm happy to be home. Thank you, Jesus, for reminding me to bet on myself. I am at a crossroads in my journey to take the road unpaved and welcome the doors that are opening for new opportunities. Vicky, of course, in AEW, her role was managing Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir. She was in their corner on this week's edition of Dark Elevation when they teamed with Diamante. Now, we have had the first set of Ring of Honor TV tapings ahead of the show starting sometime next month. What it looks like from the show is they're going on a direction of Eddie Kingston and Claudio when it comes to the Ring of Honor World title. And then for the TV title, which is held by Samoa Joe, Mark Briscoe appears to be the guy going after him. The tapings saw the debut of Zack Sabre Jr., the New Japan TV champion. He defeated Blake Christian. And the show they taped on Sunday featured the return of Proving Ground matches. They were a staple of the promotion for a long time. They're essentially eliminators where the challenger earns a title shot within 60 days if they pick up the win or go to a draw. And finally, let's look at the card for Dynamite on Wednesday. It is the go-home show for Revolution. We will have the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future TNT title shot. This is interesting that they're doing it in Dynamite. It's been a pay-per-view staple since the beginning, but maybe because of the 60-minute Iron Man match, Tony is showing some restraint with how much he stacks his card. Anyway, in the match, we're going to have the debut of Commander. We also have Konosuke Takeshita, Ortiz, Action Andretti, Sammy Guevara, Powerhouse Hobbs, Eddie Kingston, and AR Fox all in that match. Then there will be the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, and that is this for a spot in the Tag Team Championship match at Revolution with the Guns, the title holders, the Acclaimed, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. So the teams we have are Top Flight, Aussie Open, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, Best Friends, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, Preston Vance and Roosh, Claudio and Wheeler Yuta, the Lucha Brothers, the Butcher and the Blade. And to be confirmed, the All-Atlantic Championship will also be on the line when Orange Cassidy takes on Big Bill. The FTW Championship is on the line with Hook taking on Matt Hardy. Tony Storm will face Riho. Chris Jericho will face Peter Avalon after he Judas affected him in a spiky blazer last week. And MJF and Bryan Danielson will speak. So that is all from me here in San Francisco. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the PW Torch YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so you can see when Zach and Tyler go live this week. There promises to be a lot of fun shows with Revolution Week happening. So subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye!